It's Bears Nation, the breakdown with Kevin Lapka and Kellyn Gerenstein. Today, the boys break down Byron Pringle.
First and goal. Survey. It's Pringle with the catch.
The ins, the outs, the do's, and the don'ts. Can he be wide receiver 2 for the Chicago Bears?
It's Pringle. Takes off one time. Oh, lowers the head and gets to the end zone for a touchdown.
It's the Bears Nation Breakdown with Kevin Lapka.
Oh, you smell like a winner.
I'm the captain now.
Dude, you're the man.
And Kellyn Gerenstein.
I look good. I mean, really good. Hey, everyone! Come and see how good I look!
The Breakdown.
With all due respect, sir, I believe this is going to be our finest hour.
Let's go.
The breakdown intro from our guy Ernie Scatton, the best in the business. He does all of our all of our intros for all the podcasts, and we said, hey, we're doing these breakdowns. You got to give us a breakdown intro. He got it to us. We love it. But we're back. Myself, Kevin Lapka, alongside Kellyn Gerenstein, and we are here as interested for our finest hour. Let's do it, man. We have Byron Pringle. You are on deck. We have been breaking down the rookies, but like last year, we broke down some veterans too. We broke down Darnell Mooney, and there's a lot of questions and speculation, Kellyn, on whether Byron Pringle can be that number 2. Is he good enough? That's the questions. We're here to answer those questions, man. Let's do it, man. Byron Pringle, how you doing, my man?
I'm good, man. And to all the listeners and viewers, I am outside. So if you hear some birds, it is like the second day of June in Ohio. So they're out chirping. Sorry about that. But I'm excited. I'm ready. And this is, like you said, I mean, this is a guy, can he be wide receiver 2, right? He had this smaller role on a team where they were, quite frankly, just better playmakers around him. Right now, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, those are great football players. And Darnell Mooney is, a good football player. I wouldn't say he's on that level just yet, but I think Byron Pringle is going to be just fine. I do think he can be a solid 2, and he's going to be complemented by some other guys around him. Hopefully, Cole can make him step up. Obviously, you've got Willis Jones, who's going to probably step into a starting role in the slot. We'll see what EQ St. Brown can do. I wouldn't bet on him being a great playmaker, but I'm excited, man. And I think the Bears, I don't know if I'm with you on the 9-10 wins, but I do think they're going to surprise a bit of people. I do think there are people out there who are really hating on what Ryan Poles has done. And I get it. I think we all get the vision. Next year is the year. Next offseason is the season. But I think there is a bit of underselling. I do think that this offense is going to be a bit more productive than what people think it's going to be.
Yeah, and Byron Pringle is going to play a role. As of right now, he is the wide receiver 2. And as the intro said, can he be that wide receiver 2? Well, let's look at the tape, man. Let's just get right into the tape. We'll start here. I'll pull up a clip. We got Byron Pringle against the Baltimore Ravens. Watch Byron Pringle. Just watch what he does here. And wide open, but this is just playmaking. And there's something I wrote down when I watched this play. There's nothing special from a route running standpoint. There's nothing special from a hand standpoint. But just watch. He gets the ball in space and count the defenders. There's 4 defenders in front of him, 1 behind him. Gets by all of them. And what I wrote down when I watched this was, I thought of it this way, Kellyn. I thought of it this way, and I kind of made this up. I said, it brought the idea to me that there's 2 kinds of speeds. And obviously, Byron Pringle is known for his speed, right? He's known for his speed ability. That's what he brings to the offense. They have built an offense now that is going to be speedy. There's getaway speed versus breakaway speed. And what I just saw is what I'm going to call and brand getaway speed. Let's trademark it. Getaway speed is when you are behind a defender or multiple defenders, and you get by all of those defenders, get past off all of them. That's getaway speed. You think about Tyreek Hill, right? That is the king of getaway speed. Breakaway speed to me would be like you're even with a defender, right? You're at the hip of another defender and you break away 5 to 10 yards from that defender. Getaway speed is you're behind the defender and then you get past them. Byron Pringle has getaway speed. And you see it on this play. Like, this doesn't look like the fastest play, but he's got 4 defenders in front of him and he just gets by all of them. Boom, past them. And then there's the breakaway speed. And that's the difference when you think about a guy like Byron Pringle. He has getaway speed. These are the things that you see. This isn't a special, I'm going to call this a special play, but when you talk about what he brings to the table, hey, scheme up Byron Pringle in open space. This was a play where, who do you have up top? You got Tyreek Hill up here. You got, I think that's Tyreek Hill somewhere. Miko Hardman's up there. Travis Kelce's down right here. All these guys are covered. Throw it to the open guy. If you can get Byron Pringle open, he can make magic happen in space. His yards after catch, he had 4.8 per reception. That's more than DK Metcalf, Tyreek Hill, Terry McLaurin, and Brandon Cooks, Amari Cooper, AJ Brown, DeAndre Hopkins. Now, of course, all those guys get more receptions than him, which is why the yards after catch per reception number is probably higher for Byron Pringle. But get this guy the ball in space, good things are going to happen. So,
yep. And I mean, right, like not much to say, just like right, simple spacing concept. He just gets the ball right there at the first down marker. And sometimes you win because you have a better player. You're better than the other team, right? Sometimes, you know, coaching is overrated. Sometimes you don't have to think up the most insane scheme, which is, I think, that's part of being spoiled at Kansas City, playing with them, all of them. Even a guy like Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, they have each other, right? So it takes the heat off. Byron Pringle has both, and obviously as number 15 throwing him the ball, right? So it doesn't get much better than that, but they don't make this play, right? Like you're seeing it right here. Tyreek Hill gets in the way of someone, but Byron Pringle is going to outrun that defense. I think he's a 4.4 guy, but I think he plays a bit faster than that, right? Like 4.4 is still fast as hell. We kind of undersell that in today, and just because of how freaky NFL athletes are. But that dude runs probably faster than what his 40 time says.
100%.
And he was another guy that was drafted almost at 25 years old, like Bayless Jones. So that's something to bring up. I think I wanted to bring that up like right before we started, but that's something to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, this clip, the first one we're showing here, this is just, you know, this is what he's known for, right? So the rest of these clips, we're kind of getting into, you know, this, he's more than this. He's more than this. Like, this is what most Bears fans know he is. He's a guy who can, he's fast, he can make plays in space, but what else can he do? Kellyn, let's bring up that clip from the Tennessee game, because there's a lot of, I think the narrative around Byron Pringle is this. He's a gadget. He's a toy. He's, you know, a new Jakeem Grant for this offense. If you remember Jakeem Grant from last year, right? He's a new Jakeem Grant, meaning he, you know, you throw him in, Wildcat, do him, you know, he's fast, you know, he's a returner. They're similar players. He's a gadget guy. He's not a starter, right? That's what a lot of people thought about Byron Pringle. When you watch this play here, Kansas City against Tennessee, again, 2021 footage, you're going to see that he is more than just that gadget and that toy.
So, yeah, Byron Pringle, I believe, is down here at number 2. And now I believe Tennessee, all NFL teams, we talked about this in Jaquan Brisker, they're going to mix their coverage up. They're not going to play straight up man, straight up zone. Even, you know, they're going to give you quarters. They're going to give you cover 3. They're going to give you cover 2. Now, they're going to have a base. A lot of teams do. But not a lot of tape is out there of teams playing Kansas City man-to-man because of what we know. They have the fastest football team in America and probably of all time. Now, this is Byron Pringle down here. It's just a shifty move to beat press coverage. Now, I believe his aiming point here is to split these safeties. But because of Patrick Mahomes' eyes, I don't know which one of these is Kevin Byard, because NFL Game Pass sucks. The quality is terrible, so I can't see who it is. But regardless, he's going to split these safeties. And he's not known for this type of stuff, going up and get the ball. And again, NFL Game Pass sucks. I'm sorry, people. No, you can't. I don't even know if you can tell that he came down with the ball, but he did. And it's a part of his game that sometimes he will let the ball get into his body. But this here, he's plucking this right out the air. This is in between 2 defenders. And this is not the greatest. This is not a route that's designed to run against this coverage. This is like a Tampa 2 beater, right? Where he's getting passed off by this guy and he's just going to sink into this hook right here. This is probably going to be like, you know, this high, this little area right here. And Byron Pringle is going to fit right into there. And you're going to trust him to put it right in between Uno, Dos, and Trace. This is a Patrick Mahomes ball because he's got the ball to throw it. Not that he should be throwing it, but he does. And sometimes, like I said, you win because you're better than the other guy. You win because you jumped higher. You won because you plucked the ball out of the air. It doesn't always take some genius level thing. I mean, shoot, we saw it. You know, it happens with everyone in the NFL, but with Matt Nagy, that Jakeem Grant game, right? Or same thing with Damiere Byrd. Get these guys in space. Damiere Byrd isn't the greatest player in the world. Jakeem Grant isn't either, but those guys are quick. They're shifty. You know, you have to know how to use them. You have to know how to win with them. And I don't even think this is the best way to use Byron Pringle, but you see that he can do it. And they're going to ask him to do things like this is why it's important. You know, I was about to say Matt Nagy, Matt Eberflus and Luke Getsy and all these guys, that would have been terrible. The comments would have been on me about that. But these guys are going to ask him to do things. He's not just going to be this slot gadget guy, right? He's going to be catching jet sweeps. He isn't going to be that. There's plays in this Tennessee game that this offense mightily struggled, by the way, where he is lined up as a lone Z receiver, where he is lined up as that lone X receiver. He is getting one-on-one coverage. So there is plenty of times where you can see that he is doing those things. He's not just working out the slot. It's not like all the time he just has the whole field to work with. Sometimes he is limited from numbers to sideline or, whatever you're doing. But I'm Kevin, neither of us, we'll tell the people, neither of us are going to be the ones to say that Byron Pringle is going to come in and change this offense, right? I think sometimes, we all fall for that. But he is going to do some pretty special things because he is stepping into this role. He does have the maturity and he does have the experience now. He is coming from a place like Kansas City where Ryan Poles came from, right? Those guys are winners over there. Now, hopefully they know what it takes to win and he can bring that here. Hopefully he can bring some of that leadership, especially into the receiver room. Even for a guy, Darnell Mooney is 24, 25 years old, maybe. He's stepping into the leadership role that wide receiver room. So someone has to share that with him. And Bayless Jones is a rookie. He's older. He's not going to be able to do that most likely. So this is going to have to be the guy in your room to really be the mature, the leader, the guy who's still on the correct side of 30, but the oldest guy in the room.
Yeah. And I'm going to pull up the broadcast footage here so you can see, his hands on this play. Watch this right here. You saw the all 22 and you saw what he's doing, but watch specifically how he takes the hit. And you'll see it here on the left side of the screen. And then there's a replay. I mean, this is a tough play to make as a receiver, as a smaller guy, a thinner guy like Byron Pringle goes up, boom, absorbs that hit. And this is why I kind of preface this clip with the fact that I think Byron Pringle is more than just a gadget. He's more than a toy. He can make plays like this. He can go up for the ball. He's got good hands. Like, those are things that matter because he is going to be put immediately into an increased role. Like, he was getting 60 targets on 42 receptions last year. He started 5 games. He played in all 17, only started 5 in the Kansas City offense. He wasn't a guy who was getting consistent reps. But as you hinted at, this is your number 2 receiver, not just from a projection standpoint, probably from a target share standpoint. If I had to guess right now, unless they pick another veteran, unless Velus Jones Jr. pops off in training camp, this guy is getting the second most, probably third most targets after Cole Kmet on the offense. And he needs to make plays like this. And the idea here to know, right? Like, when you're running into a safety right here, to know he's coming and he's going to hit you hard and still go up for that ball and hold on to it. I mean, that's tough, man. That's toughness. And that's just, look, I'm going to go up and make a play. I know I'm going to get a hit and I'm still going to make it. I mean, who is it right here? Is it Kevin Byard, number 21? I don't know the numbers of the Titans players, but
I think that's Elijah Molden though in the slot. It was a pretty highly decorated corner coming out of last year's class. That's a guy who has experience playing press off in college, and he's not even able to get hands on it.
And you're right. I mean, that separation was good too off the break. You can kind of see it. He gets to the outside and then boom, gets by him right there. And I know there's gonna be people in the comments, Kellyn, that say, well, Justin Fields can't make this throw. No, he
yes,
can.
He can.
There's going to be someone. There's going to be someone. There's going to be a Lions fan in the chat who's going to be like, this is Mahomes. This is inaccurate footage. No, but Byron Pringle, he's more than a gadget, more than a toy. I'll bring up another clip that I have too that I want to talk about here from a game against the Bills, not the playoff game, I don't believe. But when you think about a lot of what Patrick Mahomes did with Kansas City, how guys like Byron Pringle, how guys like Tyreek Hill got their yardage, right? It was when the play broke down, right? Like, these guys can run routes. They're great route runners, but what can you do when the play breaks down? And I think that's something that's really important too, as I try to pull this up. All right, here we have Byron Pringle at the top of your screen here. I'm not sure who he's lined up against. Tre'Davious White looks like he's at the bottom of the screen. Is that Micah Hyde? It's hard to tell.
I think that might be Levi Wallace. Is Levi Wallace?
Yeah, I don't think it's Micah Hyde. But here, okay, so red zone. You talk about what were the Bears terrible at last year, years prior. Red zone offense, and then watch this play. Like, again, this isn't anything special, right? This is an okay route, not open or not. He's sort of open, but Mahomes isn't looking at him yet. Mahomes is looking somewhere else. He's looking. I don't know who he's looking at, but he's looking somewhere else. You see him wash ahead, looks over there, then finds Pringle. Too late. Guess what? There is not a defender within 5 yards of Patrick Mahomes. What does Byron Pringle do? Does he stop? No. Shake outside, get open for the touchdown. And the reason why I showed this play is because this is going to be a major component of the Chicago Bears offense. Why? Because last year and all the years that Matt Nagy was there, whether it was Mitch Trubisky or whether it was Justin Fields, the rollouts and the design QB runs were not there as much as they should be. I mean, Justin Fields is one of the more accurate passers in the NFL on the run. And there's data to prove that. and they weren't rolling him out. They weren't giving him out on a bootleg. They're going to do that this year in the Luke Getsy offense, or if they don't, he's in the pocket collapses, he breaks away. You need receivers who are going to continue the play. I think we talked about this on a different breakdown. Tyreek Hill, I'd say, gets 30 or 40% of his yardage from these types of plays. Patrick Mahomes breaking out. It's a rollout. He's buying time. The initial route wasn't there. This is just an out in the end zone. It's not there. Get outside, find a way to get open. Boom, touchdown. That's how a lot of these guys in offenses with quarterbacks that can move get their yardage. That's just what happens. And you are in an offense now with Justin Fields that is going to run an increased number of quarterback rollouts, an increased number of bootlegs, increased number of plays where Justin Fields will be on the move. So it's important to see, like last year, right? If say, like, this is not knocking Allen Robinson in any way. If Byron Pringle is Allen Robinson, is he making this play? Like, I just don't think so. The way some of the Bears offensive players were playing last year, they were quitting on plays like this. No one was open. Maybe even they weren't quitting. They just weren't getting open. And Byron Pringle has the ability to get open, beats his man, scores a touchdown. You're going to see that a lot this year. So,
yeah, it's important in today's game. And we all know this. This isn't like unspoken knowledge, but guys have to be able to play the scramble because that's just how quarterback is played.
Correct.
The way Mahomes, Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, Lamar, all of these, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, all these guys are that's what they do, right? And they've been the best athlete all their lives, right? And again, like, this is not speaking to something that a lot of people don't know, but just going deeper into that, this is an important skill to have for every receiver coming up. And I think that Velus Jones is going to probably be this too, just because of that speed. He is going to be the guy that can come into your vision faster or be breaking away faster, right? Because eventually on all these plays, which happens here, there's a standstill, right? Byron Pringle is at a standstill, and in the corner covering him is eventually going to have to change his direction too. How fast you're going to be in and out of that break is the important part, right? That happens everywhere. How fast can that guy come into your vision on a play like this, and can you make yourself open? I mean, this is very much like Justin Fields' first career touchdown pass to Jesper Horsted, right? I think Fields fitted it to an even tighter window. Horsted made a great catch on it too, so great for him. But I think this is perfect for what you're going to see, because Justin Fields is going to be a guy where the pocket probably is going to be breaking down a little bit more than on average versus other teams. There isn't going to be a lot of 3-step hitch and you're going to have a clean pocket to throw from. It's not going to be a ton of that. I do think that Justin is going to be a little bit more comfortable this year, but this is still an important thing to have, to know that you have a valve like this on an outlet for when things break down.
Right. And I mean, you as a quarterback and a mobile quarterback in yourself, how often you're seeing this a lot, right? And it's probably frustrating for you when your receivers aren't doing this, right? I mean, you're forced to then throw it away and
or take an unnecessary sack or something you don't want to do. And this is another with all quarterbacks, you see this. With why Patrick Mahomes kind of had a big interception here this year as far as stats go. And a lot of quarterbacks do this. We want the big play. We don't want to check it down. Screw that. Now you're going to have to do that, right? That's NFL coaching, NFL quarterbacks. They have to do it because that's how the progression works and windows close too fast. But nobody wants to check it down. You want to get yards on every play. Sometimes you don't want to have to throw it away or slide down. You want the biggest play, and that's not always going to be the best thing to do, but it happens to everyone. It's going to happen to Justin Fields. It's happened to Patrick Mahomes. It's happened to Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, all of these guys. It happened, but now you want it to happen better. You want good things to happen more often than bad things, which is why you need these type of players on plays like this.
Absolutely right. And I think you saw a glimpse of that with Justin Fields last year, as you want to, bring up this next clip here. I think you saw a glimpse of him trying to consistently make the bigger play. Let's stop the share, right? Like there was a lot of times where, you saw his numbers on Next Gen Stats, like his air yards to the sticks numbers, his air yards per target were some of the highest in the NFL. And that speaks to him. He's trying to push the ball down the field. A lot of the criticisms about Mitch Trubisky was, he's not looking for the bigger play. He's checking down when he shouldn't be. He's there's a guy open in the midfield. He's checking it down. Justin Fields is an aggressive quarterback who's, you're right, always looking for that bigger play, man. And that's what you want. And are you okay with that? If it results in more big plays, but it also results in more interceptions, you're comfortable with that trade-off, are you?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that everyone's going to have to be comfortable with. It's what the Jets are thinking with Zach Wilson. It's what the Bills deal with Josh Allen.
100%.
It happens, man. interceptions happen. Someone brought this up to me, or just in general, about how Aaron Rodgers has these super low interception numbers. It's ridiculous how little amount of picks he's thrown versus guys like Tom Brady, who, you know, we think of Mr. Perfect, right? Or another guy like Patrick Mahomes. But I mean, you take a look at those playoff performances, right? I mean, how many of those shots has that guy taken? Now, the risk and you can't turn the ball over. That's something you can't do. It's the worst possible thing you can do. But sometimes you just have those moments where you have to have the freaking ball. My quarterback coach in high school used to tell me this: have the freaking balls to say, I can make this throw, step in, and rip that sucker. That's what he would say to me all the time. And he's right. He's right. You do have to be wary of the defense, but you have a guy that can do all these things like Byron Pringle. We talk about, we've seen him go up and make a catch. We've seen him break away, right? We talk about getaway speed. We've seen him do all these things. It's an important thing to have for a quarterback, because make no mistake, we're doing a Byron Pringle breakdown, but Justin Fields is the future. We're doing all this because of Justin Fields.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. Let's look at this play. Is this the playoff game or is this the regular season game?
This is the regular season game.
Okay.
This is the regular season. And this isn't Byron Pringle being flash or anything, but I just wanted to show this because I think that this shows exactly what the Bears are going to be doing, because not that these offenses are very similar as far as Andy Reid's kind of, spread them out, and he kind of mixes a lot more spread into his system than these West Coast offenses like Luke Getsy is bringing to the Bears. But they do love to go condensed with this bunch set down here, right? So this is Byron Pringle at the bottom of the bunch, what we call it. He's just going to get open and pluck this ball out of the air. Now, I think if you go to the broadcast angle, it'll show a little bit more how far the ball is behind him. Again, NFL Game Pass sucks, man. I really am sorry. But it just shows that he can pluck it, right? He can get open. He's going to find these ways to do it. And this is the role he's going to play. I'll tell you exactly what the bunch is going to be. It's going to be Darnell Mooney, or it's going to be Velus Jones. It doesn't matter, but you're going to have two receivers up here with the tight end. The personnel is going to be Cole Kmet here at the top of the bunch, and then some combination of Darnell Mooney, Velus Jones, and Byron Pringle up here. Then the last one is going to be the odd man out down here. It's going to happen. The NFL is a copycat league, right? So you want to have someone that's ran this before, right? You want to have somebody that's been able to get open versus this coverage before, right? And the Steelers like to match everything, which is why no one goes to the flat right away, and this corner is a flat defender. So he sees no one coming to the flat, so he's going to take the guy that was furthest outside of him. Byron Pringle gets right over the top of him. And granted, this is pretty good play calling. I think he's obviously schemed open here, but makes that catch behind him, plucks it out of the air. And with all these breakdowns, we're not trying to say that any of these guys are going to be amazing talents and they're just going to make the Bears the best team in the world right away. But we're just showing you exactly what you can expect from them. So when this does happen, week 1, 2, all the way through week 18, you see Byron Pringle make this play. You see him either make a catch behind him or he's open on this corner route, out of a bunch set. You'd be like, damn, I saw that on Bears Breakdowns with Kevin and Kellyn, and boom, now we're right.
There you go. I mean, and think about it too. Like, how many of the Packers receivers are special? How many of the Patriots receivers are special? Like, not exactly. Like, you can get by. I'm not saying you can win a Super Bowl with the receiving core that they have right now, but you can get by. You can win football games with players like this, with production like this from guys like Byron Pringle. And we do think Darnell Mooney is going to be sort of that next tier. I think maybe like a tier 2, tier 3 type receiver this year, in my opinion, at least from a statistical yardage standpoint. So yeah, we're not saying Byron Pringle's a Pro Bowler, but we're saying he could get you 900 yards. I mean, and that's not an outrageous thing to say based off of what his production in the past. Again, 60 targets last year, 42 receptions, had 568 yards on 42 receptions. Say he doubles that, say he gets 80 receptions, right? Which isn't, I don't think it's a crazy number. That's 1,000-yard receiver. Okay. And I don't know if he'll be 1,000-yard receiver, but a lot of the reason why we want to do this breakdown in general is, you see the glimpses, right? You see the glimpses, you see the talent. He just wasn't in an offense, wasn't on a team where he was able to showcase this talent frequently because he just wasn't on the field. And that's not, and don't, like, there's going to be people who hear that and say, well, isn't that an indictment on Byron Pringle? Isn't that his fault? He's not on the field. No, I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs are, not only a loaded offense personnel wise, they also, for some reason, liked Mecole Hardman more, just because of what he presents from, I think, a deep threat ability. And then, he's sort of that gadget guy, but don't see Byron Pringle's production and his target share as a knock on his abilities. See it as okay, he did that with this amount of targets. Imagine what he can do with this amount of targets. And one thing I found interesting too was when I looking at his stats on Pro Football Reference, out of his 42 receptions, 32 of them were first downs. So he's getting to the sticks. You know, he's getting the yards after the catch. He's getting those first downs. And I feel like a lot of the receptions that I'm thinking of last year were, you know, guy catches ball, falls to ground short of the sticks. I mean, that like the amount of times the Chicago Bears were in 3rd and 8+ was astronomical. I mean, you wonder why the Bears were moving the ball downfield. You're putting yourself in 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 9 every situation. Yeah, you're not going to get down the freaking field. I have one more play here. This is against the Steelers. I think this was this wasn't the playoff game either. Let me pull it up right now. And this again is just sort of a display of his athleticism. And this play, it reminds me a lot of a guy who is no longer on the Bears, Tariq Cohen. You can watch Byron Pringle here. He's right here in the slot at the bottom of your screen. Or no, he was at the bottom of the screen. My bad. That's Miko Hardman in the slot. It's hard to see the numbers here. Byron Pringle here at the bottom of the screen. Got the little towel. 1st and 10 here again in the red zone. Watch what he does here.
Yeah, I remember this play.
Woo!
Yep.
Man, does that not remind you of Tariq Cohen right there? I mean, that reminds me of Tariq Cohen. And this again, like, you know, he runs an easy slant route, gets open, but again, a lot of what you want in an offense, specifically this Luke Getsy offense, any offense, you know, the West Coast offense, right? You know, you've talked about it. You're scheming guys open. You're getting guys open in space. I mean, look, you know, number 20 here is giving them 7, 8, 9 yards of cushion. Okay. So he understands that and he comes up on him. He runs a slant, boom, get him open. Okay. This is not a lot of room. You have what, 2 yards to work with here before you get into number 20, make a move. 2 yards is enough. Get into the end zone. Like, these are the things that we're missing. Like, the reason I pointed this play is this was missing. I mean, name a play, Kelly. Name a play from 2021, 2020. I can name one play, and that's Darnell Mooney's catch and run against the Ravens and Demir Byrd. Okay, that's 2 plays. And then I think there was one Jakeem Grant play. I can't think of many other plays where you're seeing guys do things like this, man. Like,
you don't want to know, the one that comes to my mind is like Darnell Mooney's very first NFL catch. If you remember, it was on like a comeback against the Lions in 2020, and he made some dudes miss. Like you saw, like, who the hell is this guy?
I think
like,
I do remember that actually.
This twitchy son of a gun. That's like the only thing that comes into my mind, because even the Jakeem Grant, Demir Byrd, and the Darnell Mooney one from this year, Darnell Mooney was kind of like this one from the Ravens, kind of like make one guy miss and outrace everyone, which is fine. You know, that's a great move. But this one's kind of like, it's a little different, right? I mean, this is really stop on a dime 2 times and just like I said, be a better football player than the other team. This isn't going to happen a lot, right? Like, if Byron Pringle is going up against an elite secondary where, take the Ravens or someone who has this really, really good second cornerback, he's probably not going to win every rep against that. But sometimes he is, right? Sometimes these guys are they're NFL football players. They're there for a reason. And even though we think of some of these guys on different levels, and they are, some receivers, some corners, some football players are just on different levels than other in the NFL. Some of them, they are there for a reason.
Absolutely. I mean, watch number 41. Jesus, man. Watch number 41 right here, man. Watch number 41. Oh my God. He falls on his ass. Man, ankles. And that's Minkah Fitzpatrick. That is Minkah Fitzpatrick, one of the best safeties. I don't know if you can say that anymore. A top safety in the league, I guess. Make a miss, get in the end zone. Again, like, it's just, man, this is what makes football fun as fans, man. These are the kind of things that made not even 2018, even about 2017, right? Think about Tariq Cohen in 2017. Do you remember what he did against the Steelers and against the Falcons in those 2 games early on in the season? Like, that was fun football to watch. That was fun offensive football. And that's why, I pointed this out. I was like, this reminds me of Tariq Cohen type play, just, making guys miss, getting open, getting extra yardage. Like, if the end zone's not there, he maybe gets, 13 extra yards, but like this, again, these are things that matter. Getting the end zone. He had 5 touchdowns last year. I mean, that's pretty good. 42 receptions, 5 touchdowns. You'll take that. And that's why, like, I think a big thing is important as we break down, who knows, maybe we'll break down Cole Kmet, Kelly. I don't, you want to be up for that? I'd be up for a Cole Kmet breakdown. just because, you know, a lot of because the thing is, like, a lot of those guys that are previously on the team, like their roles are going to change as they are coming into a new offensive scheme. You know, the things that are going to be asked of them are going to be slightly different. What's going to be available, the opportunities available to them are going to be different with an improved offensive line, with a, you know, a better quarterback going into year 2, and with a new offense. You know, a guy like Cole Kmet is going to get more red zone opportunities. I mean, the Bears got into the red zone and said, let's throw to Jimmy Graham every time, right? Like, and that's why, you know, I look at these things, man, and, you know, it's again, we're not saying the Bears are the top 5 offense in the league right now, but I think as fans, as analysts, as people who watch the game, like, you want to see this. This is fun football to watch, man. I don't care who you're a fan of. If you're a fan of baseball and you want to turn on football, you want to see plays like this. You don't want to see 5 curl routes, you know, Allen Robinson catches it, gets tackled immediately. So Byron Pringle, man, he's got the opportunity to do a few things, man.
Absolutely, man. Just, I mean, I think this Bears receiving core they're going to have some room to grow, but I mean, you still got a bunch of speed all over the field, and I think it's a different kind of speed than last year. I mean, Jakeem Grant, Jameer Byrd, those guys were fast. They were quick. They were twitchy, but I don't know if it's the same this year. You know, and you're getting guys that are experienced with. Byron Pringle is stepping into a bigger role, but that guy is experienced playing in an offense that they do a bunch of different things. They do have to use pre-snap motion. They line them up in the slot. They line them up condensed. They line them up outside split alone. So we've broken down. Now we've got the top 3 receivers broken down. So maybe we do have to do both of them. We got Velus Jones, we got Byron Pringle, we did Darnell Mooney last year. So we'll see, man.
We'll see. But hey, you got me dreaming a bunch chats with Darnell Mooney, Velus Jones Jr. and Byron Pringle. That's got me excited. And it should be, you know, the way this offense is constructed should be a surprise to no one. Where does Ryan Poles come from? You know, he comes from the Chiefs. He saw the success that they had with speed receivers. And, you know, you can say all you want about wishing you got George Pickens. They're creating the offense that they think works. And it's proven to have worked in the NFL in the past. So Byron Pringle is going to be a big addition to that. If you guys haven't checked out our previous breakdowns of Jaquan Brisker, Kyler Gordon, last year we did Justin Fields and Darnell Mooney. And we also did Dominique Robinson. We're going to get to a few other guys, probably maybe some of the other rookies, maybe the old linemen. We got some people in the comments saying they want Braxton Jones and Zach Thomas tape. Okay, we'll get to it. But yeah, man, we'll get to it. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Never miss a video, so you can be on the lookout for all the next breakdowns. And if you're listening to this in podcast form, first time putting the breakdown on podcast form, be lookout for our next episode with Jake Hassan next Monday. But for myself, Kevin and Kellyn Gerenstein, this has been another episode of Bears Nation Breakdowns. We'll see you guys next time. Take care.